Hey y'all. All right, so I'm about to go to bed, but I came on here. I just came out the shower, so I'm cool. I didn't put lotion on my face yet, but I came down. I came here. I'm not even sure if I'm going to post this, but this thought process just came into my mind, and I had to really make a video about it because this is where people are getting messed up in while they're navigating their humanity. Okay. Now, there's a concept or this thought form out here where people want you to love them in their imperfections or in their fragmentations. Okay? They want you to love that they are lustful. They want you to love that they are wrathful. They want you to love that they're greedy. They want you to accept and love them for their lower level natures in which that they come here to actually ascend from. Okay, it comes from a need of wanting to be seen. It's come from a need of attention. And my response to that is that it is extremely, and I'm also thinking impossible for people to give you love in a place that was not cultivated with the seed of love. Okay, in the realm of that existence, when you're operating from this lack frequency, love is not there in that paradigm. So when you come on here and then you're like, love me through these parts of myself that I don't even love. And then you get disgusted. You yourself are disgusted with yourself, but you want others to pour in love into that scenario. Impossible. Okay? All right? We can offer empathy, we can offer compassion for the human experience, but this demand that you want others to love you at your worst is senile. Okay? We cannot give you what you do not give to yourself. All right? So if you want to be on the lower fragmentations of life, in lust, which indicates lack, which ultimately leads to jealousy. Okay? When you're moving in greed, also frequency of lack, does not have the idea of love, which is abundantly flowing. Okay? And in connection with the oneness of God. All right? If you're operating there and you're like, please love me when I'm at this worst part of my life, and you don't even love yourself there. Okay, and that's where the cringiness comes from. This is where the disgust comes from, because it's the exact opposite of what the thing that you're craving. All right, but you're giving way to your id or your impulsive side, and then you want people to love you through it. We can offer compassion, right? Because those of us who love ourselves, it literally, that frequency vibrates at a total opposite vibration, that it repels us just by nature. Okay? So until you get to at least a neutrality, all right, we can't even see you. You're just murky, filled with a bunch of bullshit that you've created in your own human experience. You're a vibrational match to that. And it's not that you can't ascend, because you also have the power to ascend past it. But you want us to be loving your complacency, and that's a problem. That's a problem. All right? And then what you're going to actually do is entice shadow spirits who are fragmented to just be all over you, because they want to be embodied in you, fragmentation. But you're lucky because you have a vessel, so they can't be animated into. So that's why you're going to be begging for their attention, begging for those who are actually also fragmented, not moving wholly, to want to fulfill you. You're looking externally for something that should be internally. That's why the repulsion. All right? That's why. It's not about us being better than, or you being better than, or me, because we've all had to go through our human side. We've all had to be able to rise above and have dominion over our shit that is lower level nature. But we got the call. I was like, yo, we need you to operate at a higher frequency, because we got some stuff that need to come down here. Right? Not just for us, for the collective as a whole. We're not that selfish. We're not that self-gratifying that we put others in danger to the mission. So if you fall, it's okay, all right, but it's just indecent. Okay, these are the words that are coming to me. It really brings forth, in my truth, it brings forth a level of disgust when you're begging people to love you in a state in which you don't even love yourself. So as you're navigating this human part of you, keep that in mind, especially those of you who know better. Some of you guys are leaders and you absolutely know when you're descending into humanity. And I would also give grace and understanding, because I do understand that there has to be a polarizing aspect to teach others, meaning for people to watch and be like, don't be like this. So you have to play a certain role, right? But when you pretend like you don't know, or you literally block, when it's time to ascend past a certain consciousness and you decide to stay there because you got the call, which means you already illustrated that you have knowledge above this level of existence. But you're choosing to stay wrapped in it. That's where we're all like, all right, you know what I'm saying? That's where we got to be like, all right, maybe they're not really learning for real. All right, maybe it's fraudulent. Maybe it's more about the likes. Maybe it's more about the ego-driven aspect of embodying the consciousness of God rather than the collective understanding that we're ascending together. We're not saying that we all got our breaks, right? We all got our breaks to operate in the humanity, to understand, right? Because every day is a learning experience, all right? So, you get summer break, we get summer break, all right? Then we out here, all right? But we don't get stuck there. When it's time to go, we go. We put on our wings and we fly. We get high. All right. But when it comes to a certain level of respect that we get out here in the streets or in ascension process, as far as being messengers and all this spiritual work, right? And we got people who are resonating with us and we have particular messages for them. We don't try to replace God in their lives. And at the same time, we don't abandon our mission. So when you come on here and you're begging for attention or doing shit that it's like, whoa, was that even a real journey? Was it an authentic journey? Or was it all ego driven for worldly possessions? Check the spirit. During my last cycle, I really had to check and see a lot of these people who have and it's not about the followers. Like, the followers come with it because that's supposed to be a line of currency. People are watching, right? You're getting validated in your experience based off of how much currency is coming away, how much energy, how much eyes are being placed on you. But that comes a great deal of responsibility. So when you see these people coming on here and they're beefing on spiritual stuff online, talking about they're defending themselves, you don't have to defend yourself when God is in you. It's just a real. This is not about clout or, I got to defend myself against it. What are you talking about? Right? Is your message being clouded by this worldly shit? All right. If it is, then that's how you know you need to be back into a isolation period where it's just you and God. Because you're allowing the ego of man to run your shit. So now your messages are being clouded by your own desire, your human nature. All right. And for you to actually really receive the message, this has to be a line, and it starts in the heart space. Right? So what are we doing? Okay, you can't be moving from a state of lack because the message is going to be tarnished. All right? And those of us who operate in the shadow, even in the shadow, you still got to be connected. You just be out here in the darkness lost, in the unseen lost. All right? There's some messages for the people, there's some messages just for you, there's some messages that's for both. When you start seeing these people battling each other online, pay attention to what the hell is going on. They're not really operating in oneness. Right? There's some fraudulent shit that's not being actually transmuted. Okay? Now, Those of us who are watching, it is our job to witness, observe, don't take sides, and just be quiet and then do what you got to do, because there's a reason why you're watching this. It's for you to make the discernment to see that this spiritual stuff is an internal work. It's not external, inward. I don't care what religion you're following. I don't care which way you're getting the messages, through whom, what source, which tap in you're doing it. Some messages are going to resonate because you know that they don't know you from Adam. They don't know nothing about your backstory, but they're saying some stuff that you're like, this is happening in my life right now. That's a true message. Clear, concise. There's nothing for them to gain. You know what I'm saying? God signs my checks. Okay? Through multiple different sources. All right? So you'll never see me begging the shadow of man in order to supplement me. Pay attention. Okay? And then when they reach a certain level of financial material wealth, it becomes a switch up in identity. And now they're trying to calculate in their brains, how can they do something more in order to attain more money, more attention. Egomania. I'm telling you, no one's above it. Okay, so you got to really be doing the work to keep your vessel spiritually clean, keeping your spirit clean. It's a consistent thing. All right? Because people get compromised out here, and it starts in the spirit. All right? It starts in the spirit. Okay? So even with this message, you got to remember that we're all one. Okay? It's not about I'm just telling you what I've seen. And what I've seen I peeped it a long time ago. So you take the messages where they resonate, because they resonate for some reason on whatever part of your journey you're in, right then and there. But don't make nobody your savior. Don't make anybody your God, because the same people are going to come in and they're going to criticize you for making them a God, even though they were trying to fulfill that role. All right? Be mindful of this. This is not just in the church. It's not just the preachers or whatever. It's anybody who you're giving all your attention to that's shaping your consciousness. There must be a period of isolation where you don't hear anyone else's voice but that internal voice within yourself. Matter of fact, that's the reason why you're only using my higher self as a bridge for your own. All right? Pay attention. Okay, because you may have quieted down your own voice of God within yourself, and that's why you're out. That's why you need something more physical in your physical reality to be the mouthpiece for it. Okay, and we all help each other, but it doesn't come with ego. It doesn't. Legit. Sometimes I might not even get a message off my phone. I'll be walking outside and some stranger would say some shit to me that I needed to hear. That's how I know that God is in there. Don't get caught up in the way things are looking physically here. All right? Some people are battling shadows way bigger than themselves. And instead of taking a break from the attention of others, they get consumed by it. And they beg that entity to keep on pouring into them because they feel empty without it.